The frost pipes on Nostromo Wreckage are one of the most interesting and fun mechanics they have ever added to any of the maps in DBD. They're kind of like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Trap card in a way that you have to not only set the trap, but you also have to play the trap right, and more specifically, at the right time. Now I'm going to go over the main loop in more detail, but a lot of times the pipe is mainly just to help you get back to that window, but they can be played by themselves just for fun. Now they're very simple. All you have to do is make sure that they're active, and to do this, once these pipes have already been used, you have to come to this right here. There will always be one of these very close by. Some of them are a little bit farther away or across from it, if it is like one of the ones that spawns over there, or the one that spawns all the way over there, although that's probably the worst one. But once these are set, what you have to do with this is get the killer to follow you up to the pipe, and once the killer is close, you run through the pipe. Now, you can't wait for the killer to be so close that you could get a pallet stun, essentially, because these pipes will block the way for a little bit, and if the killer walks through it, they'll get slowed and it'll jam their power and do a lot of things. But if they wait it out, you'll get a lot more distance to be able to make it somewhere else anyway. And it's deceptively long, so a lot of times when it's almost finished, you walk into it, you'll get hit by it anyways. So it really does last long enough to give you enough distance to be able to make it to another spot or back to that window over there again. Now what you do is you wait for the killer to come right up to you, and then you run through it just like that. And then it gives you that much time for you to keep running and get extra distance, or if they get hit by it, you'll get even more distance because it slows them down. Is he gonna get through that? That'd be hilarious. No, he didn't. Okay. That's what I thought. Come on, I'll do it again. Now, one thing that you do have to worry about a little bit for these is if you're trying to bait the killer into it, you can run into it here and it'll set it off. So the second you leave this one little spot, the pipes will work. Now, the problem with that is if you're trying to bait the killer into it, you don't want to run too far, because if you pull out too far, because let's say the killer's coming down from that way and you want him to see you because you want to pull him into this trap, you can't walk out too far to try to get his attention, because it'll set the trap off and you'll just end up frosting yourself. Oh god, I fucked myself up. Ah! He didn't respect it. Now, these pipes work against a lot of different killers, even teleporting killers like Singularity. And it works whether Singularity teleports into this, where you bait him in, wait for him to teleport, and then you set it off as he just teleported off your back. Yes! Look at that, dude! Isn't that fucking awesome? I think we make it around to the pallet to be able to grade. Yes! And it also works if you run into it like an M1 killer, like you run into this here, he gets hit by it and then tries to teleport to you out of it. That does not break him out of the frost. I'm gonna get hit here. This is the fast fall. No, I'm not. This is this right here. Yes! And they're still slowed by the thing, dude. That's exactly what I was hoping. Isn't that fucking awesome? It even passes the infamous test of, does it work against Nurse if you play it right? Yes! It works! Woo! But nothing is guaranteed, and there are exceptions to every rule. Now, the main reason these frost pipes are going to be getting used for is to connect it to the main window. And I'm going to be going over this main window in a lot greater detail once I get to the actual full map guide. But a few quick tips I could give you about this window is, number one, when you go to jump through that window, the killer can see which way you turn in the air. Much like the frost pipes, you're going to sort of lay this bait and hope the killer takes it. So you're going to jump through this window, turn to the left or the right, but you really want to go to that way because that's the best way to get back to the window. So you turn to the left, the killer will see you turn to his right in the air, and most of the time will go to that to try to cut you off because they will see you turn that way. But then you turn to this way instead, and they conveniently put a little crack, that teeny little hole below that window. You can see a lot of the killers. It has to be a much shorter killer for you to not be able to see. You can see if they took the bait or not, and if they take that bait and they go to the left to go drop down that way, that's when you can push up this. And that's when you can go to use these frost pipes. Now, something that is very tempting to try to do is if you're far ahead of the killer and they take the bait and you get way up here, is to go around this way. Now, this will only work if the killer doesn't realize they can just walk right through here and get the traps out of the way, and I've had this work before, but it's more one of those things that are like, is the killer going to do this? Because they don't really know how the frost pikes work, and they'll see you walk the long way around it, so they'll think that they'll get hit by it, so they would try to walk the long way around it. But that is not worth the risk whatsoever, because if the killer just knows that they can walk right through that, then not only did you give up a lot of distance that the killer just walked right through when you walked all the way around, but also your trap is gone. So I know it's tempting to try to walk all the way around it, but it is not worth it. What you really want to do after you jump that window and hope the killer took the bait and you come up this way is to just wait for the killer to catch up and then run through it. And if the killer gets hit by it, it is enough to make it back to that window again. Damn it. I wanted that to worky. Come around the corner. Yay, he took it. He took the bait. Here we go.